What are the risks of transposing to a pawn structure? Let's discuss the risks involved when you change your pawn structure during a chess game. Transposing to a new pawn setup can seem like a smart move, but there are some important dangers to keep in mind. First, once you create weaknesses in your pawn structure, like isolated or doubled pawns, they can be tough to fix. These weaknesses can become targets for your opponent, limiting your options and making your position harder to defend. For instance, if you trade pieces in a way that leaves your pawns doubled, it can reduce their mobility and make them easier to attack. Second, changing your pawn structure can open up your position, which can be a double-edged sword. You might gain open lines for your pieces, but so will your opponent. If you are not careful, this can lead to strong attacks against your king or other vulnerabilities in your setup. Third, consider how the new pawn structure fits with your remaining pieces. If you transpose into a position with a closed center but your pieces are better suited for open play, you might find yourself at a disadvantage. The pawn structure shapes the nature of the position and the strategies available to both players. Another risk is that some pawn structures may look similar but play very differently. For example, a pawn chain on the e5 square can behave quite differently from one on the d5 square. Even if they appear symmetrical, the differences can affect your king's safety and how your pieces can move. Before making a move that alters your pawn structure, ask yourself some key questions. Will this create long-term weaknesses? Are my pieces well placed for the new setup? Do I understand the typical plans and dangers of the resulting position? By considering these factors, you can better navigate the risks of transposing to a new pawn structure. In summary, while changing your pawn structure can be a strategic tool, it is essential to be aware of the potential risks. These include creating permanent weaknesses, opening your position to attack, and mismatching your pieces with the new structure. Careful analysis and understanding of the typical plans are vital to avoid these pitfalls.